Mike Babcock's pissing off a lot of people again today, so let's try to shed a little bit of perspective on things. And it's something that Maple Leafs fans are really well versed on already so early on into the season, and that's back-to-backs. The Leafs have had 3 of them already if you're including tonight's game against Columbus and tomorrow's game against Boston, while other teams are just settling into their first or second back-to-back. Other teams like Boston don't have one for the entire month of October at all. And a lot of people have been really harsh on Mike Babcock early on in the season for his choices on who starts game 1 and who starts game 2. Mike's philosophy seems to be that he starts Frederik Andersen in game 1 of the back-to-backs no matter what. No matter who their opponent is, no matter if the game is home or away, no matter if the other team is rested or tired, Frederik Andersen starts game 1 of the back-to-back. And this morning, Babcock was questioned again, and he gave this response. Mark Masters with the quote. Imagine if you lose game 1 and then you went into game 2 tired. The investment makes no sense to me. And don't worry, we're going to come back to that tweet with the projected starters for the rest of the upcoming back-to-backs. But I mean, that quote, imagine if you lose game 1 and then went to game 2 tired. For me, that just screams old Mike Babcock. And it's the reason why so many people are really frustrated with him. It's the reason why I'm frustrated with him, is because he locks himself into trends and tendencies and relies on them and never adapts off of them. And then other coaches are able to pick up on that, they use it against him, and then you end up losing that X factor in, let's say, a 7-game series. So up on the screen right now is the Maple Leafs' schedule through the month of October. And the first back-to-back that they had this year took place on October 4th and October 5th, involving the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens. Frederik Andersen started the game in Columbus against the Blue Jackets, and Michael Hutchison played at home on the first hockey night in Canada of the season against the Montreal Canadiens. But when we're breaking down this matchup, the one thing that I have to ask Mike is, cool, okay, you started Freddie in game 1, that was Columbus's home opener for the season. Maybe they're all jazzed and hyped up and ready to go, and they come out of the gates storming. But if you look at the Columbus Blue Jackets on paper and you look at the Montreal Canadiens on paper, the Montreal Canadiens are far and away the better team. Now, you know what? If you want to call that first one a toss-up, fine. Okay. But this next one really pissed a lot of people off because the strategy was right there for you, Mike. And it's October 15th and October 16th. Now, in that game against Minnesota, he started Frederik Andersen at home against the Wild. But the interesting thing there is that the Minnesota Wild played the Monday night, the day before, and they were a tired bunch. So that means that Mike Babcock played his starting goalie at home against a tired bottom-of-the-league team when they were up against the Washington Capitals the very next night on the road. If there was ever a game that you were going to entrust to your backup goalie, it was that one against Minnesota. So back to Mark Masters' tweet. So tonight, the Maple Leafs are taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're not very good. Frederik Andersen is going to start tonight at home, and Michael Hutchison is going to start tomorrow on the road in Boston. And the matter is, not all back-to-backs are created equally. And that's the thing that's really frustrating, because he's treating the back-to-backs as if they're equal. He's treating the teams that the Leafs are playing in those back-to-backs as if they're equal, and they're not. They're all variables. Whether you play at home or on the road, that's another variable that's being ignored. So to me, it's just frustrating to see that there's no real strategy that goes into this. It's just Andersen's going to start the first game. The backup goalie is going to start the second game. Okay, let's just go back to the tweet for a second here. Tonight against Columbus, he's going to be playing Andersen. Tomorrow against Boston, a team that we're more than likely going to be fighting for home ice against, he's going to be throwing the backup goalie in on the road. 2 out of 4 points is a loser mentality. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. 2 out of 4 points is here. This is where you need to be if you want to win the Stanley Cup. I can't find the audio, but it's from one of those behind-the-scenes kind of clips things in the Road to the Centennial Classic. It's from Matthews, Marner, and Nylander's rookie seasons. And basically, I believe the context is that it's Matthews' first game back home in Arizona, and Babcock's in the room trying to get the boys all hyped up to come out and play hard for Austin Matthews in his hometown. And he basically says that they're going to go balls to the wall. Is that going balls to the wall, Mike? Is starting your backup goalie against Boston going balls to the wall? That's not what that is at all. And I don't care how many times I have to say it or how ridiculous I sound. That's not what that is. It's predictable, it's trash, and I don't like it. And, I mean, really, the way to describe the relationship between fans and Mike Babcock right now is, it's this. It's tense, it's uncomfortable, and, I mean, maybe I'm letting it get that way for myself, and I shouldn't, but I like getting into the nitty-gritty stuff, like the strategy and whatnot. So make sure to like the video if you did like it, and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, remember, hindsight rules all, and the past is always the best predictor for the future.